What's going on YouTube? I'm Jacko G Freak and I'm here to show you guys the best settings for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. For the best settings, follow along closely and I'll show you exactly what settings maximize your FPS and the color saturation. So I like to have full screen borderless, okay? I like doing that so I can just flick across, but to maximize the frames, you can do full screen exclusive, but I personally just go full screen borderless. I still get 144 frames, which is great. That's just my monitor, my display adapter, my GPU. Dynamic resolution, I keep that off. You don't need it on. You can if you have a really good GPU, probably like a 4000, but it really doesn't do too much. Aspect ratio on automatic. That's obviously just for your display and your monitor and whatnot. VSync off. VSync menus off. Custom frame rate. I like to leave it as custom. If you leave it as custom, you can expand it, put it on 145. Or if you guys have a 240 Hz monitor, put it up to 240. Menu custom frame rate. I probably should drop that. I like to drop it down to a little bit lower, just so then what happens there is that your GPU and CPU aren't, working really hard to get the frames up. So we're just going to close that out at the moment. Apply those settings. Restart shaders optimization. All I did was just change it up so you can have those different colors and the different grading and whatnot. It's nothing too crazy. Same as shader optimization. I don't have any of that type of stuff, so I'll leave that stuff off. Down to gamma, display gamma, 2.2 sRGB. You leave that how it is. It's default right there. Brightness, I like to leave my brightness at 60. So 60 is probably the furthest you'd push it. Maybe 65 before it starts getting a little bit too wishy-washy. Constrain mouse to game window off. Focus mode off. And as we move over to the top of the page to quality, we have quality presets custom. So I have render resolution is 100. That's the same as what I did in Warzone. And I'm sure we'll be doing the same. If you have a really good GPU and you're maybe not streaming, you could probably push it out to 110 or 120. But it comes down to preference and if you actually are able to do that. Upscaling, sharpening. I have Fidelity FX CAS. Really fucked up that word there. And the cache strength just 50% right there. Anti-aliasing SMA T2X. Anti-aliasing quality, normal. Video memory scale, 90. So I have that maxed out right there. Texture resolution, low. Texture, filter, anti-strobic, high. Nearby level of detail, low. Distant level of detail, low. Clutter draw distance, short. Particle quality, high. It just show like everything around you kind of need it at a higher level. So I have that as high. Particle quality level, low. All impacts and sprays off. It just has an effect on your CPU and GPU, and you don't need it on. You don't need to be seeing, maybe in campaign you might use it when you can see the bullet holes, but for multiplayer you really don't need to be seeing bullet holes and bullets whizzing past your head. You know you're being shot at. You don't need to look at the wall behind you to confirm that. Shader quality low, tessellation off, terrain memory max. So that just memorizes the terrain as you walk over it. It loads it already and saves it. On-demand texture streaming off. You don't need that on. Streaming quality, low. Volumetric quality, low. Deferred physics quality, off. Water caustics, off. You don't need to be seeing water in HD, okay? No one cares about how the water looks. Just turn that shit off. Shader map resolution, normal. You don't need over-the-top, good-looking shades, unless it's the campaign, but you don't need it. You're playing multiplayer. You're trying to see the people and have better frames. Screen space, shadows, off. Spot shadow quality, low. Spot catch, low. Particle lighting, low. Ambient occlusion, off. Screen space reflections. You don't need reflections. Who cares about the water reflections and the puddles on the map? Who cares? Turn it off. Static reflection quality, off. Low. Weather grid volumes, off. Post-processing effects. So we have NVIDIA low reflex, low latency, off. Depth of field, off. World motion blur. You don't want a blurry gun when you're turning and stuff. Just keep it as crispy as you can, off. Weapon motion blur. You don't want the weapon to be dodgy as well. So as you can see on the photos above me right here. So you've got, this is what it looks like when it's on, world motion blur on the right. This is what it looks like when the weapon's on as well. So imagine if you had those two on at the same time. Imagine that. Like, let me just flick between them two. That would look, it would just be an absolute blur. You want that stuff off. Film grain, low, which is off. It's just 0. So as we move up to the top, middle, to view. So we've got field of view. Because I am on PC, I prefer it to be on 120. I believe you can do the same on console. But a lot of people prefer 105. I prefer 120. It just feels better for me. ADS field of view affected. So pretty much as you can see here, you have independent and affected variables up top there, and you want it to be affected because of the fact that it keeps it kind of zooms it in and whatnot. So happy days, weapon field of view, defaults, third person view, 80, vehicle field of view, default, first person camera movement, at least 50, third person camera movement, at least 50, third person ADS transition, third person ADS, and default spectator camera game perspective. Let's move over to the interface quickly as well. So we have menu text size default, text chat text size default, text chat background opacity 20, text chat message duration short, color customization. That's another thing where you can just change it up if you want. That's subject to if you're colorblind and whatnot. Subtitles default, subtitle size default, vertical heads up 100, horizontal heads up 100. Minimap shape, square. Never use a circle. It limits your map, so having a square is a bigger one. Those pixels count, baby. Minimap rotation on. Crosshairs on. Hit marker visuals. Absolutely. We're not playing hardcore. Damage base hit markers. Absolutely. You want that stuff. You want the reds coming up. Full name. Fade after 5 seconds for vehicle HUD. Telemetry custom. So for here on custom, I have on. So FPS. Server latency on. Packet loss on. I like to see how my game is performing up the top left of your screen as you're watching this YouTube video. Let's scroll down there. Telemetry label size default, connection meter off. Skip the introduction. It's less shown on your computer, and also after you've seen it once, you don't really care for it anymore. Tool tips, yeah, keep that on. Networking game on. Hardware in game on. Parallax effects off. Turn that off. It does help, and it doesn't have your game crash all the time. I found that was a big win for me, the G-Freak. Center dot, absolutely have that on, and make it larger. Okay, so you have a bigger middle dot, so there's permanently a middle dot on your screen all the time for centering. It's great. Use system mouse cursor on, and operating system for system key behavior. When it comes to audio, the audio is the same pretty much. I just use headphone bass boost. I use that across Warzone. I found that's the best as well. Master volume, music, dialogue effects, hit marker, speakers, all 100. Speaker volume, I just use my default system device. Monitor audio off. Subtitles off. Default for subtitle size. Leave that off. Voice chat on. You know, these are just the voice chat options that you have here. We're just going to brush over those things. Push to talk. I have it as V. It's the same as Warzone. It was Z default, but I like to use the V. And look, Juggernaut music, you can keep that on. I like the Modern Warfare. I like the classic sound. The classic, I don't know why that was changed. The classic sound's way better than the MW. The hit marker sound. So happy days, take me back, baby. But that is going to be it for today's video on YouTube of the best FPS settings and color settings. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you did like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. A lot of you guys aren't subscribed, so subscribe in. We have plenty of content. We have gameplay, we have best settings, we have podcasts, we have absolutely everything on here, and vlogs as well. So jump on board, subscribe if you haven't. It's free. I'll see you guys in the next video. Remember to take care, be safe, stay well. As always, baby. Peace.